The other thing is guys getting on base, and Stephen Kwan went through a stretch where he had a couple series back to back where he wasn't on base, and Ahmed Rosario hadn't. I think if you get guys on base, he starts to see a little bit more fastballs because you don't want Kwan and Rosario. They will get on and run. Miles Strauss from the bottom of the order too.
Exactly, and that's the style that they want to play is just making you annoyed. I mean, teams hate to play them when they're playing that style. Ask the White Sox last season. It's when they're slapping the ball all over the place and they're running like crazy, and they've been stealing bases, and they've done it at a really high success rate. They just haven't gotten on base recently. And so, yeah, that's their identity. It's just they've sort of gotten away from that, and it does all start with getting on base, drawing walks, hitting singles, beating out infield singles, those types of things that against a really soft part of the schedule, they have not done for the last 10 days.
Yeah, and again, if it was buried somewhere in June, it wouldn't be as much of a, as stick out as much. To that point, though, 23 games in, take a look at this. 90 runs scored. So the only teams that have scored fewer runs than the Guardians are the A's, the Royals, the Nationals, the Marlins, and the Tigers. So that's and more than half of their wins have come against those teams that are struggling to score runs. So at what point do we become concerned about that, do you think? 23 games it's too small of a sample size, but as you said earlier, you can't say that as you're getting into, the middle of May and June.
I think it's just, I try to look at it big picture and what's the ultimate goal here? Because they got a taste of it last season. And so it can't just be, hey, win the worst division in baseball again and then see what happens. It's you want to feel like you are a threat to win a World Series. That's the next step. And they certainly don't look like that now. This is not a team that's going to have the Rays shaking in their boots right now. So how can you get there over the next 5 months? And what steps do you need to take to make the offense formidable enough that you feel that way? Hitting for power is certainly one of the answers, and that's something they didn't have last season that maybe was a pitfall for them when it mattered most. So can you get enough production from Josh Bell? You need Josh Naylor to turn it around. You do need more from Jose Ramirez, but I think the main thing, just to score more runs in general, you've got to have guys get on base. It starts with Kwan and Rosario, as you mentioned, and you have to go from there.